Hello, friends. Shalom. Welcome to week 7 of Freedom Club. Now, the idea behind Freedom Club is that you would experience complete and true freedom from whatever addiction you might have, whether that's tobacco, and yes, that is an addiction, uh, drugs, alcohol, the most common ones, pornography, work, food, whatever it is. We want you to experience complete freedom from those idols that control your life. And some have questioned and doubted that addictions control their life. But I know for a fact that I watch people and I know what their addictions do. It tells them to give up family, to give up work, to give up all sorts of things. And with tobacco, I'm really amazed because with the change of culture, the change of the world is they say, okay, you can't smoke indoors anymore. So people will stand out in the freezing cold in order to support their addiction. They are controlled. But if I told you to go out and be out in the cold, you think I was a jerk. But the truth is, we want you to have freedom. We don't want you to be controlled by these outside substances. We want you to experience what God has created in you and made in you. So, as we've gone through the scriptures, looking at 12 lessons, we're on week 7 of this. We are learning all these different things. First of all, that you have a choice. You only have two choices, either life or death. Those are your two choices. And we learned that in Genesis in chapter 1. You have the tree of life or the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Life or death, life or death. What are you going to choose? You want to be free? You're going to have to choose life. We talked about little things matter. Little things matter. So you can't just smoke a little bit, can't just drink a little bit. You got to experience complete freedom by saying, you know what, that's just not who I am. That's not part of my life. It's little things matter. We talk a little bit about our identity, who we really are in week 3. We focused in on your identity, who you are created to be. You are not created to be addicted to those idols. You are addicted to drugs, alcohol, pornography, whatever those things might be. You were not created for that. You were created as God's son or daughter. You were created in his image. You were created with special purpose in mind. We talk a little bit about who you spend time with. Lesson 4 was all about who you're spending time with, for good or for bad. There are people who are going to make you better, people are going to make you worse. The scriptures teach us that iron will sharpen iron. Find iron to sharpen you, to get you stronger, healthier, better. And then we talk about, we move into the New Testament at that point. We talk about building a solid foundation. Now, on good days, when I was getting free of my addiction, I know it was really easy. There was no stress, no pressure. Oh, those were easy days. But then there's going to come a time when there was stress and pressure. If you're not free, you're going to relapse. You're going to go back to whatever it is that brought you comfort, that seemed like a good idea at the time. You have to build a solid foundation because the scriptures promise you a storm is going to come and you need to establish that. And then in week 6, we talked a little bit uh, talk is cheap. You can't say, "Well, I'm going to get clean, but I'm going to hang out with these friends who are going to the club." You can't say, "I want to be clean and sober. I want relationships restored." You can't just give words. You're going to have to prove it through your actions. For a long period of my life, I lived in Missouri, and the Missouri statement was, "Show me." That's what we want to do. That's how we want to live our lives. Show me. And it's going to take action in order to get free. So this week we're on week 7, and we're looking at Mark chapter 8. And Mark chapter 8 starts off so exciting. In fact, all of Mark up to this point has been so fun. I mean, and Mark is rapid. This happens immediately. This happens, and then quickly that happened. It's just it's a rapid fire gospel of all of them. It's the fastest moving. This happens and this happens. It's all about action. Coming back to that action idea. And in the beginning of Mark chapter 8, Jesus feeds 4,000. He's debating with the Pharisees and winning the discussion pretty hard. There's a lot of discussion about who Jesus is. And everyone's getting pretty excited. Oh, this must be the Messiah. But then you get to chapter 8, verse 31. I'm going to read this. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and the chief priests and scribes and be killed. And after 3 days, rise again. And he spake that saying openly. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Can you imagine being that guy rebuking God? That's a crazy thing. We do that all the time, though, so we're not that much different than Peter. But when he had turned about and looked on his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men." And when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, Whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever will save his life shall lose it. But whoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. What a powerful thing. There's a teaching that is common in several churches that I see and I hear on a regular basis, is that once you come to Christ, everything's going to be easy. Now, you're never going to be alone. That's true. You're always going to have the support of God being with you, and you're living a righteous life. You're going to have that, but there's no promise that life is going to be easy. In fact, just the opposite. If you want to be free, and you're saying by attending this class that you want freedom, then you're going to have to understand that becoming a person of character is going to require sacrifice. Becoming a person of character will require killing off your old self. All those things that were part of your past, you may have to change. We talked about when we were talking about changing who you hang out with. I mean, I had to give up friends and family members for a season so that way I could build this foundation of my life, so that way I could have that relationship restored. I could do all those. You have to kill off the old self. Becoming a person of character will separate the men from the boys, the women from the girls. Anybody could stay in the old world. Anybody could stay in that. But this is the lesson of week 7, is that it's not going to be easy. Sacrifice would not be sacrifice unless it was a challenge, unless it was difficult. But you are up to it. You can pull it off. You can experience the joy and the freedom of being free of your addiction. But I got to promise you, it's going to initially be pretty difficult. Giving up that cigarette for the first day is pretty difficult. Day 2 is still tough. Day 3, 4, 5, it's all difficult. It's all challenging. And there's going to come a time when it gets a little bit easier, but there's always going to be difficult days. That's why the foundation piece was so important. But I want to tell you up front, it is going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging, but you can get through it. From here in the Gospels, if you read the rest of Mark, things get real. There's a whole different tone. Jesus' face is turned toward Jerusalem. Things begin to head in this direction where you know it's going to culminate in his illegal trial. It's going to culminate in the cross. It's going to culminate in all of his friends leaving him. Living a life of character is going to be tough, but I got to promise you, it's going to be worth it. When you read through the Gospels, you see that at this point, a lot of people quit following Jesus. It just doesn't seem fun anymore. It's not exciting. He's not just feeding people. He's not just doing the easy stuff, the fun stuff. We like to see the healings, and we like to see the food multiply. We like to see the walking on water. But we don't like the storms. We don't like the difficult, challenging times. When you experience this new life free of your addiction, I got to promise you, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be good days, and there are going to be bad days. But I also want you to know it's not always going to be fun, but it's going to be worth it. When you wake up many years from now, with many years of freedom from your addiction, you're going to experience something all new. It's going to be a joy, a happiness, a peace. All that is yours if you'll choose freedom.